Cable, Mysterio, Punisher, Elsa Bloodstone, Blade. Marvel Comics has a bunch of characters in their world that arcsystemworks can choose from for the Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls roster. Ever since its reveal trailer, Marvel Tokon fans around the world gathered to share their predictions and wish lists for the entire character roster. So many characters have been requested, but out of all of them, there's one that I believe deserves the spotlight more than anyone else. A character with an iconic design. A character who would break the internet the second their trailer drops. A legend in the Marvel franchise. The one. The only. Howard the Duck. Okay, I already know what some of y'all are thinking. Howard the Duck? Out of all the Marvel characters, Liz is your pick? Hell yeah! And not only am I standing on business, I got some rock solid reasons as to why I think Howard deserves a spot in Marvel Tokon. But before I get into those reasons, we have to first talk about who exactly is Howard the Duck. First up, Howard isn't some random gag character Marvel just pulled out of a hat recently. He's been around since the 1970s. Created by Steve Gerber and Val Merrick, Howard's first appearance was in the Venture into Fear issue number 19, right alongside Man-Thing. Yes, Man-Thing, whatever this guy is. And from there, Howard started crossing paths with everyone. Doctor Strange, She-Hulk, characters from Guardians of the Galaxy, and even Spider-Man.
I'm warning you, I know quack folk.
Too weird.
He's one of those characters who just sneaks into Marvel media like a photobomber. The thing is, Howard represents Marvel's weirder, satirical side. It was a parody of comic book storytelling itself. A fourth wall breaking duck who called out the ridiculousness of superheroes and brought great humor to the table before Deadpool was even a twinkle in Marvel's eye. Now look, I already know what someone's gonna comment, but Deadpool already fills the funny fourth wall breaking slot and people like him more, so why not just only add him? Wrong actually. Deadpool's brand of humor is loud, chaotic, self-aware. Howard is dry, sarcastic, satirical. They're not really the same lane. And in terms of humor, let's be real, fighting games always need that one character who's funny and is just straight up a meme character. Street Fighter has Dan, Grand Blue Fantasy Vs has Lil Wayne, and Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 have Phoenix Wright yelling objection while everyone else is blowing up the screen with laser beams and sword slashes. Howard fills that exact role of being a funny character. He's funny, he's absurd, and he can get the people excited. Well, kinda. Because here's the thing, meme characters generate hype. Crowds go nuts when Phoenix Wright gets a combo, people start getting excited when Lil Wayne starts his Yiggy Super, and people lost their minds when Kuma won a huge tournament in Tekken 8.
And that's gonna do it! Our first ever Tekken World Tour!
That type of energy is exactly what makes people go wild, and Howard would instantly generate that kind of thing. So if ArcSys wants to make a roster that feels like the most unique Marvel fighting game we've ever seen, Howard actually checks the box of being a great funny character for the roster. Also, how is it that in the 43 years of Marvel games, Howard has never been in a Marvel fighting game? His 1986 movie had an action game and he's a playable character in multiple titles, but he's never been in a fighting game? It's just odd to me considering that fighting games like having wacky characters, and as stated previously, Howard is the perfect fit for that. Now you're probably thinking all of this means that it's a small chance of him getting in considering that he's not a popular pick, but actually you're very much wrong. In a PlayStation blog post from a while back, the developers have already said they're trying to build the most unique Marvel fighting game roster ever, with balanced playstyles and characters we've never seen in a fighter before. And that changes everything, because not only does this open the door for other deep cut Marvel characters, but it also allows Howard to join in on a fight. I appreciate this approach from the developers because it reminds me of the guideline the Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3 developers followed to build its own roster. For those unaware, Budokai Tenkaichi 3 is known for having the largest and most impressive roster we've ever seen in a fighting game. This is because not only did the developers add fan favorite Dragon Ball characters to the roster, but they also added characters that you wouldn't ever imagine to be in a Dragon Ball fighting game like Frieza soldiers, Kid Chi-Chi, Pilaf Machine, and so much more. Just like Budokai Tenkaichi 3 feels like a huge celebration of Dragon Ball history, Marvel Tokon has a chance to be the same for the Marvel brand. And who knows, maybe we might finally have Drax in Marvel Tokon.
Yes!
I think in this current situation where Marvel Tokon is being compared to Marvel vs. Capcom so much, it's important for Tokon to distinguish itself not just in gameplay, presentation, and features, but also in character roster. People will remember Tokon a lot more for having wacky characters like Howard, and even characters like Blade, who has also never appeared in a Marvel fighting game before. Jesus Christ, Marvel, what the hell are we doing? Now, all this talk about Howard being in Tokon is great and all, but if Howard were to be in the game, his special moves and super attacks would have to be absolutely ridiculous. So, I try making some myself. After all, if we can have a tree that says 3 words and still fights gods, surely we can give a duck some hands, right? But before I get into his special moves and super attacks, I need to talk about his unique combat gimmick, which is Quack Fu. Quack Fu is Howard the Duck's signature fighting style, a parody of martial arts that's both a running joke and a surprisingly legit skill in his stories. Since Howard is a cigar-smoking, dimension-hopping duck with no superpowers, Gerber gave him a martial art as a comedic way to let him survive fights. It's a satire of the kung fu craze of the 1970s, but it also fits Howard's personality, overconfident, resourceful, and a little ridiculous. The thing about Quack Fu though is that it is less about raw strength and more about cleverness, unpredictability, and timing. He uses improvised techniques with big jabs, wing slaps, kicks, and environmental weapons. And a big part of Quack Fu is a psychological mental edge. Confusing opponents and acting unexpectedly is what this martial arts is about. But with all that understood, let's start making this moveset for Howard. For his unique attack, you can have Howard throw out random objects like cigars, beer bottles, and maybe even a copy of his own 80s movie VHS tape to make things pretty funny. Every time he presses the unique button, you'll never know what item comes out. If the cigar hits the opponent after he quickly lights it up and throws it, they will burn and take damage for a few seconds. If he throws the beer bottle, glass will scatter on the ground and the opponent will take damage if they walk on it. Of course, the glass will disappear over time. And for the 80s movie VHS tape, while it won't do crazy damage on hit, it will be massively advantageous on the opponent's block. As for his throw animation, he should just choke his opponents while shaking them around, then throwing them either behind or in front of him depending on which throw you do. Getting into his special moves, his first special can be a gun laser shot and his second special move can be a dive kick that instantly changes his clothes to the martial arts outfit he has on right here the moment you input it. On the other hand, his third special move should be a parry attack where if you time it right when the opponent hits you, Silver Surfer takes you out of the way and shoots a beam at the opponent afterward, sending them far away from you. And his fourth special move should be him doing Iron Man's anti-assist, but what makes Howard's different is that he instantly gets into his Iron Duck suit doing it. And for his super attacks, his super skill will just be him doing his Quack Fu, showcasing a bunch of his funny punch and kick attacks, throwing and hitting the opponent with a bunch of random items, and then finishing things off with landing a gut punch on the opponent with the Infinity Gauntlet. Lastly, his ultimate skill should be him entering the mech he created in Marvel Contest of Champions. This will be an install or temporary state he'll be in where he can punch people, shoot bullets and rockets, and have an extra special attack where he can send his opponent straight to the corner. And there you have it, a moveset that does Howard justice through cool references that will definitely please Howard fans and even make casual fans laugh. I'm genuinely so serious when I say I want Howard the Duck in Marvel Tokon. I grew up watching the 80s movie way too much, and while the unfortunate failure of the movie scared Marvel away from future Howard the Duck appearances for many years, it at least made a kid like me check out the comics and even had other people like James Gunn go out of his way to reference him in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. He's even shown up quite a bit in Marvel's What If series. It's like, with so much Howard Easter eggs and appearances these days, it feels like it's finally about time to start giving him a bigger chance to shine. And there's no better way to do it right now than to put him in Marvel Tokon. Because at the end of the day, Marvel Tokon is about delivering the most unique Marvel fighting roster ever, and nothing will shake up this roster more than including the legend himself, the one, the only, Howard the Duck.